the voice of women, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. Right now, we are in the big question, where we have conversations, matters that are affecting us as Nigerians. We're talking about it this afternoon. My name is Fumi Bamgala. I did not say my name. But on the big question this afternoon, we have none other than the Executive Secretary of the Youth Empowerment Foundation, Mrs. Iwalola Akinjimo. I hope I said your name right.
Yes.
I tried. Okay, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to meet you.
I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Lovely to meet you too. Okay, let's get into it. First of all, today is the Global World Toilet Day, right?
Absolutely.
And do you want to share some light on why this is important?
Okay, so the World Toilet Day is set aside so that we recognize the importance of toilets in our lives, first and foremost. And the theme for this year is sanitation in a changing world. And so one of the key things about toilets is that it's as important as the water we drink and the air we breathe in, because it contributes significantly to the state of our health. For example, in Nigeria, there's what you call open defecation, and it is so rampant and it is so high, and people don't understand the fact that it's directly related to the fact that the toilets are not accessible, they're not where they're supposed to be, and even if they're available, they're not in the condition in which people can use them. So these are some of the problems we have, and this day is set aside for us to understand that indeed we need to keep our toilets clean.
Yes.
The toilets need to be available even in public spaces. The toilets need to be available in schools, in markets, and in the office. So that's why we're celebrating World Toilet Day today.
I'm particularly interested in this because I like to joke with my friends that the moment I enter a place, and the first place I go to check is the toilet to see whether it's an event hall or church or school, wherever it is, because I believe that the toilet is, like you rightly said, is as important as the water you drink, because that's where infection starts to go about from. So once I go into a toilet and it looks wet and it just looks somehow, it programs my mind that this is not the place you should take. This is not the place to be.
It's not an hygienic environment.
It's not
absolutely. You're right. You're on point.
Yes.
And so this is very, very important for us to note, because one of the reasons why toilet is also important is because of women and girls.
Yes.
Because in schools, if toilets are not in the condition they're supposed to be, a girl that is having her period is not going to come to school.
Absolutely.
And if she's in school, she's going to be very uncomfortable to go into a toilet that is not clean, where there's no water, she cannot wash her hands, where there's no privacy. There's just so many issues around toilets that we need to start taking toilets very, very seriously.
Yes. I would like to ask this question about, the human beings that defecate or urinate on the streets of wherever it is that you live, Lagos, Ogun State, wherever it is. Like, is this something that, how do we curb that habit? Because it's a bad habit where you just find a place because you're pressed. Granted, we don't have a lot of places that people can go into to relieve themselves, and that in itself is a problem. But how do we curb the bad habit of people just openly defecating or openly urinating anywhere that they see, any open space?
I think one of the key things is that one of the things we've noticed is that in some houses, toilets are located outside, and in some situations there might even be no toilets, in quotes. When you say no toilets that people can use. And so in such a situation, people who live in that house are likely to practice open defecation. That is one. Then another thing is that there has to be consequences. If there's a law that says don't do this and you go ahead and do it, then there has to be consequences. So for example, if you're going on this Lagos-Ibadan expressway and you pass a certain part of the road, you find out that there's a lot of open defecation, but then there's a part of the road that says do not defecate, and you find out that people don't defecate in those sections because right across the road there are law enforcement agents there who are willing to do whatever it is they have to do to ensure that people do. So there has to be consequences if people defecate where they're not supposed to defecate. And then house owners, office providers need to ensure that there are toilets that are accessible, that are clean, that are in the condition that we encourage people to use those toilets. You'd be amazed that I once saw a WhatsApp scenario where house girl was actually defecating in the kitchen where she was supposed to be cooking in a nylon. I mean, that's an extreme situation.
Yeah.
Because definitely the people who will probably have employed her, there will be toilets in the house. I mean, that is I won't say rascality. I mean, it's just being
wickedness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is wickedness. But then what we're saying is, let there be consequences.
Yes.
And let the consequences be such that would discourage people from actually practicing open defecation. Because one of the problems about open defecation is that the people who are doing it don't even know. They don't realize the consequences, because when water falls, it washes whatever it is they put there into the water body, and then it's that water body that goes into the well, and then at the end of the day, that is what you get out to drink or take your bath, as the case may be, which is one of the reasons why they're also saying that please don't even site toilets close to wells, close to boreholes, so that at the end of the day, you're not actually taking what your body has spent so much time to remove from your body. So those are some of the reasons why we said toilets, good toilets, no open defecation, so that we can all enjoy our lives and live very healthy lives.
I never even really saw it that way, that that picture will not leave me now. Okay, but how do we get to enforce these things? It's interesting that you talk about, consequences, because this morning on the Full Breakfast Show, on the newspaper reviews show we had this morning, and on another program this morning, that's something we kept on talking about, because in Nigeria there are really no consequences for actions, unless maybe you vexed somebody so much and then they come after you, and that's when you know the full weight of the law.
Exactly.
But most times we don't really see consequences to actions. But what the government might be listening, a government person might be listening now, what are the steps beyond saying, don't put it there? How do we action these consequences so that they know that, look, is not, you might say, it's not that deep, but it is really that deep.
Yeah, we need to start looking at it as a situation where somebody is trying to kill somebody. That's what I see. Because when what you do washes into waterways, what you have is there can be incidents of cholera and so many other waterborne diseases and worms and all that. So the same way that you would treat somebody who, I'm not saying they should kill people. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, for example, when you catch somebody or two people and you lock them up for some time, and the people in that environment know that this is the reason why these people were locked up for some time, they're not going to do the same thing. Because if you tell them to pay money, or if there are fines and all that, everybody is not necessarily going to have the resources. But and then when you look at it, sometimes it's related to poverty. And so what you want is not a situation where you make people's situation worse than but just for them, for that mindset that this is not good. This is not acceptable. So locking people up for a while would work, because people don't want to be locked up for a while, for something that they should have not done in the first place.
Yes.
So those are some of the punitive measures that I think would work. And then don't just pick somebody up and then release them immediately. That's not going. That's not going to. I mean, the lesson is not learned. So those are some of the consequences that I've seen that work when it comes to people openly defecating, and then at the end of the day they just walk off and feel that, I've not done anything wrong. After all, it's coming out of my body, so I should be able to bear it. That's not what we're saying. Not everybody can bear whatever it is that you have done.
Fair. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. The last time I saw people really, really take sanitation or hygiene really seriously was during COVID, and just shortly after COVID. And one of the ways infection spreads is, do you want something? Okay. One of the ways infection spreads is via not washing your hands and things like that. How can we begin to educate our young people, older people, on how to, take care, pay attention to their sanitation, pay attention to their hygiene? Because it's easy to say, it's starting from when they're in primary schools or secondary schools, but we also see adults who use the toilet and don't wash their hands.
Exactly.
So
So I think one of the key things is that a lot of situations about toilets is also for you to have an understanding that, like I said before, it's a matter of life, and you need to understand that. So even if you use the toilet and you don't wash your hand, what you're doing is you're creating a situation where you're likely to fall sick. Whether you go there to wee, or you go there to defecate, or you go there to change your sanitary towels, as the case may be, so far as you step into that toilet, when you come out, you need to wash your hand. And it's not just about hand sanitizer, because some people will think, oh, once I put hand sanitizer, no, hand sanitizers will not replace hand washing. So I always tell people that once a child understands what water is, then the child should learn that anytime I go into a toilet, whether it is my home toilet, or it's my school toilet, or it's a toilet in the marketplace, or it's a toilet in a church, you need to wash your hand once you're stepping out of that toilet. Once you have used the toilet, you need to wash your hand. And it's critical. Children, adults, elderly, no matter the age group, you need to wash your hand, and that is what we're emphasizing on. And when we say wash, it's not just put soap, but put soap and put your hand on the running water. In case where you don't have running water, there will always be a bowl of water that you can take and then wash and put water on, and make sure that you get rid of the soap as much as possible. So hand washing is critical after toilet use. It's also critical even before cooking, and it's critical after cooking. So I mean, they're just you never get tired of washing your hand. When you go outside and you come back into your home, wash your hands. It's very, very important. It's part of hygiene, and so it's critical for you to have that understanding. And let's start training our children, our adults, even if they don't know or if they refuse to know, that hand washing is critical and is a very important part of hygiene and life.
Yeah. All right. It is 21 minutes after 12. You're still tuned into Women Radio 91.7 FM, the voice of women, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. This is the big question. And right now we are speaking with Mrs. Iwalola Akinjimo, the Executive Secretary of the Youth Empowerment Foundation. We are speaking on Global World Toilets Day, and you're wondering, I don't want to take concern me. It concern you.
Absolutely.
Because your health is wealth at the end of the day. So if you're not healthy, you can have all the money in the world, and is that money you'll be using to cure something that you could have treated with just washing your hand? Interestingly, I love that you mentioned if you go out and come in, because that's a habit that I put on maybe some months ago. You won't find me going to once I come into the house, I've gone into the kitchen to wash my hands with soap. And then you see the immense dirt that comes out of your hand. You're just like, oh wow, that's how much dirt I was carrying. So that's something that people need to also imbibe as you go out. When you come in, wash your hands with soap. When you go into the toilet, whether you did number 1 or you did number 2, whatever you went to do in the toilet, make sure you wash your hand with soap. Is there a number of seconds or minutes that you should spend washing your hand?
Well, most people recommend, I mean, what I've read would be like 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay.
But it really depends on how dirty your hand is,
Right.
and what you have done. So, I mean, if you're just coming back home, you probably will wash your hand and make sure you rub it together, front to front, front to back, both hands, and then make sure you put it under running water. So it's not really the length of time, it's how good and how well you wash the hands and how dirty the hand was. So for example, if you have grease or engine oil or dirt on your hand, of course you spend the longer time getting it off your hand than maybe just regular, you're coming in and then you're washing your hand. So absolutely, at least 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Some will say a minute. So, but I always tell people it depends on how dirty your hand is. Just make sure front to front, front to back, both hands, you wash it, and you wash it very well. And you can feel that the hand is actually crisp and it's clean and not oily.
So we are basically talking about, the importance of hygiene and sanitation. But again, let's switch gears. Tell us what you do at the Youth Empowerment Foundation.
Okay, so Youth Empowerment Foundation is a youth serving organization, and our vision is to ensure that young people contribute positively to the community, and we give them skills to contribute positively to the community. And we will do our work in partnership with different organizations, and our focal areas is sports for development. And so we use sports to teach life skills in secondary schools, and we also do a lot of activities around nutrition, ensuring people have an understanding of what nutrition is and how important it is to your health. And we do a lot of work on economic empowerment, so we provide vocational training services to young people, and then we do, like I said, life skills training for young people to have an understanding of issues around self-esteem, negotiation, communication, and what communication is, what our needs and wants. And so our programs cut across southwest Nigeria and north central Nigeria. So we have our head office in Lagos, and we have a branch office in Ibadan, and we also have a branch office in Abuja. So a situation where we let young people realize that they can also contribute to the development of their communities, and it can be an agent of change within your community. So those are the areas in which we work, and we also ensure that young people have leadership skills. But we do a lot of work with girls and young women, because we feel that Nigeria is such a place where if young girls are empowered, if young women are empowered, I mean, then you're a step ahead.
Yes.
Of your contemporaries, and the country is a step ahead because you have mothers who have the capacity to raise children, you have women who have the capacity to lead companies, and you have women who are also change agents within their societies and then can stand up. And you have women who can participate in politics, which is very critical. And I must say I'm wearing two caps here, actually.
Okay.
Not only the Executive Secretary of Youth Empowerment Foundation, but I'm also part of a network called Women in WASH, Females in WASH, which are women who are engineers who contribute to having a very clean environment, having sanitation, and who also work in companies that are disposed towards having good wash practices. That is water, sanitation, and hygiene. So I'm also wearing that cap here today.
Okay, so if people want to join, is there an avenue to join, or is it just like the foundation goes about educating people?
Or if you want to be, if you want to contribute to Youth Empowerment Foundation, you can be a volunteer, because there's several skill sets, that we need. I mean, we need people who can teach about communication. We need people who can even contribute to some of the work we do. So, for example, a family recently wanted to celebrate the birthday of their 16-year-old daughter, and we encouraged them that instead of spending so much money on this, why not take a school, renovate the toilets, and they did that. And
was the girl happy?
Oh, she was.
Okay. Because I know 16-year-olds. That's not what their mind is.
No, she was actually. It was actually our project at the end of the day. That, I mean, it's good that we suggested it, but she was able to see the bigger picture, in the sense that, I have these resources, I can actually make life better for other girls like me who are in public school. So I mean, at the end of the day, it was an excellent project, and it was really, and she had a clear understanding that, I mean, it's better to spend money on such rather than spend money on cakes, ice creams, and all that.
I mean, those are good too.
They are absolutely. But you can still get an ice cream, but maybe not as much, and some food, maybe not as much, and then spend what you have on other girls. So she enjoyed herself at the end of the day.
Okay, so what's been is it success rate? How is there stats and data to tell us how impactful the Youth Empowerment Foundation has been?
I think we've done so well. First and foremost, we were 30 years this year.
Wow.
So we started in 1995. And so I think we've done pretty well. What I can say categorically is that when you've done so much and you see products who have passed through your organization, who are doing similar things, not only in Nigeria, not only across states in Nigeria, but even outside of the country, then you know you've done well. We see so many young people, girls, boys, who have passed through Youth Empowerment Foundation, who have their own NGOs, who have their own companies, and who are also paying it forward in terms of also ensuring that young people like them also have a voice, also have the resources to excel in whatever situation they find themselves. In terms of numbers, it's huge.
I can only imagine. But 30
really
years,
huge. Yeah, it's really huge. I can't even say this exact number, because there's so many things that we've pioneered in Nigeria. For example, we started the first HIV/AIDS hotline, and that was as far back as 2000. And the hotline is still available. It's just that now we use it to respond to gender-based violence issues for young women and girls.
That's something that you also do as well.
Yes, we do that. We do that. And also, when you look at let's say taekwondo, for example, we're one of the few organizations that are supporting young girls to learn taekwondo in schools, and we do that across 4 states. Lagos, Oyo, and Ogun State, and also FCT.
Okay.
And a lot of young girls have the skills for taekwondo, and they see sports as a tool for knowing more about life skills, knowing more about negotiation and stuff. And so we also do competitions on taekwondo for young women in Nigeria.
My
so
daughter plays taekwondo.
Oh,
he plays
does taekwondo.
She does taekwondo, and she's so I agree with you.
So taekwondo is so good. I mean, so many other sports are good. Football is also good. It's just that our girls are doing better in football than the boys.
Oh yeah, I
otherwise they would not have defeated them. Look at them.
Are you people looking sad? Hey, yeah, sorry. No, but I agree. That's something that we stand for here at Women Radio. I like to say that anything that women touch, it turns into gold.
Exactly.
You know, they say give a woman a house, she makes it into a home. And we're not saying, because before they say we're coming for them, because today is International Men's Day, we're not shutting you down. I've been greeting you people since morning. But the truth is, we have to be able to acknowledge the impact that women bring to the table.
Absolutely.
And the fact that we're still marginalized, women and girls are still marginalized in Nigeria, is something that not just women should be concerned about. It's something that both men and women should be concerned about.
But you know, one of the things I've also seen is that I think boys are also being marginalized. And I'm going to illustrate with an example. Okay, so I went into this institution, which is a private institution. It's a very big one and very successful institution. And you find out that maybe across about 4 or 5 faculties, all the best students were females.
Well, what a man can do, a woman can do better.
All of them were females. And I think so we need to create a balance as much as possible. We've been doing a lot around girl empowerment. And you find out that even when you look at the corporate sector sometimes now, you see that there are a lot of women out there. So I feel that hand in hand, as we're raising our girls to be exceptional, to be leaders, we also need to let the boys understand that, you know, these are some of the things that you should do to excel, because the drug problem, I mean, let's not go into it. I mean, let's not even go there. So, but I mean, today is what toilet day.
How we got here.
Exactly.
But that's
but there are just so many issues,
Yes.
And I think pretty much we're doing very well with girl empowerment, with women empowerment, and we also need to do a lot for our boys, and so that at the end of the day you have a kind of balance in the society, and so we don't end up leaving the boys behind and taking the girls ahead. So it's critical. But so
okay, what's your final word on global toilets, the World Toilet Day? Somebody who's listening right now that just feels like, I beg, what are they saying? But what's your final advice to somebody, you know, in terms of taking it more seriously?
Okay, what I'll say is that toilets are critical, toilets are important. And in your home, what are you doing about the toilet there? Making sure it's hygienic and making sure it's environment. In your school, what are you doing about the toilets there? Can girls easily access the facilities? Is there water running? Is it kept properly? Can you proudly say that a visitor comes to your house and walks into your toilet and you don't need to hurry up and go and clean the place? And so I think for us, and then there's this issue that we've left out, having genderized toilets. So in the marketplace, do you have toilets separate for men, toilets separate for females? And in schools, if you have physically challenged people, can they use the toilet facilities?
They access it?
So those are last words. I mean, our toilets have to be accessible to everybody, irrespective of their gender, irrespective of their disability, and irrespective of their age. Because when you go to some markets, you find out that the toilets, their elderly people cannot use it, and they go to the market. So all these are critical issues. Please ensure toilets are accessible, they are clean, they are hygienic, and people can use it effectively.
Awesome. Where can people find you?
Okay, so Youth Empowerment Foundation, we have a Facebook page. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram at Youth Empowerment Foundation, and our office line is 0809 111 I think 459. I don't have it in my head,
but they can follow you on social media and find the number.
You can follow us on social media, and our office is 43 Akerele Street in Surulere, Lagos, and we have office in Ibadan and Abuja.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I learned even more, even though I've been trying, but now it's to take even more of what you've said and enforce it personally, my family, amongst my friends as well, and family. Thanks so much for coming. It was such an interesting conversation.
No, I really love talking with you.
Thank you.
It's been so awesome.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And there you have it, folks. Today is Global World Toilet Day, as well as it is International Men's Day. So as you go about your day, while you're greeting, the men, pay Aku International Men's Day. Also ask them, Sheti have you washed your hand today? Just make sure that you're doing the right thing. This is still Women Radio 91.7 FM. Like I said, we just finished this conversation with Mrs. Iwalola Akinjimo, the executive secretary, I almost said executive producer, the executive secretary of Youth Empowerment Foundation in Nigeria. Do stick around with us on Women Radio for even more amazing programs and great music. Do not go anywhere. We've got you. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Women Radio
91.6